Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It has been almost a year. I think almost a year. I started making these videos about how to get your international qualification to work as a teacher in the UK about a year ago, and a lot has happened since then. I would say basically one of the reasons why I stopped was there was a lot of traffic in terms of people reaching out that they wanted to get their QTS to work in the UK or to be qualified to work in the UK. However, one of the problems I found out was a lot of people who didn't meet the criteria for especially the direct route to QTS, kept reaching out to me, even though in the videos we're very explicit about the people who qualify for certain opportunities. I also realized that a lot of teachers did not have their TRCN. That is Nigerian teachers. A lot of Nigerian teachers didn't have their TRCN. So even in that period, because they just started the direct route to QTS for Nigerian teachers, there was a spike in the number of teachers applying to get their QTS, their TRCN in Nigeria. And so because of that, I had to take a step back to just allow people, go and get their TRCN. Getting their TRCN right now is even so easy, and they have, a fast track route for people who are not even residing in Nigeria, because they know that a lot of people are trying to get, work outside the country. And so they have like an online exam, pre-qualifying exam, and fast track routes for those that are not in Nigeria. Even if you are in Nigeria, I think there's another cohort about to write their exams now. So if you haven't gotten your TRCN and you're a teacher in Nigeria, I don't want to get any emails about TRCN again. You should have your TRCN. I'm just going to go over it. This is like a refresher video. I will be doing updates on each of the different routes to qualify to work as a teacher in the UK. I'll be doing the updates subsequently, but for now, we're just going to go over the 4 routes again, so you know the options that are available to you if you want to qualify to work as a teacher in the UK. So there are 4 routes, and we're going to discuss them individually. I'm not going to give too much details into them. I'll just give the criteria so you know if the one you qualify for and the one you want to go for. Then I'll make in-depth videos about them separately, because I don't want the video to be too lengthy. Okay, the first way, that is, you want to work in the UK as a teacher from overseas. I'm going to focus on some certain countries. Okay, first of all, generally from overseas, you want to work in the UK. And when it comes to direct route to QTS, then I will focus on specific countries. There are 4 options available to you as an overseas teacher who wants to work in the UK or move to the UK to work. Number 1, we'll start with train to teach in the UK. Now, to train to teach means that you're coming here to do your teacher training, right? So you don't have to have any education experience. You don't have to have any education qualification. You can just have your bachelor's. That is number 1 criteria. You must have your bachelor's, but your bachelor's can be in anything: sciences, arts. It doesn't have to necessarily be in education. You must have C4 at least in your O levels, English and mathematics. Whatever that translates to in your country, you still have to compare it to their own GCSE here. When you're ready to apply and submit your form, you'll still do the evaluation to compare it to their own GCSEs and see if it's up to a C4 credits. And you don't need a teaching qualification or teaching experience, like I have mentioned, to train to teach in the UK. Now, it's not free, of course. You should expect to pay at least £15,000 per annum. I mean, it's just 1 year program, so yeah, you should expect to pay at least £15,000, and that includes living costs, but of course not traveling costs, not visa costs, not flights not flight costs, just the training and living costs. You should expect to spend about £15,000. However, there is financial support in form of bursaries and in form of scholarships for particular subjects. If you have been watching my videos, you should know that there are particular subjects in the UK where they are very low on staff, so they are looking for teachers for those subjects. If you're in mathematics, you're in the sciences, and you're in languages, those are hot cake areas, so they even offer you money to come and train to teach those subjects. So you can look into that. I have a video on that. I'm going to either link it here or put it down in the description box below. I think the name of the video is Train to Teach in the UK. You can go and watch it. That is if you don't have any teaching experience, you don't have teaching qualification, but you have a bachelor's and you want to move to the UK to teach. That's one route for you to explore. Secondly is IQTS. Now, IQTS means that you have been working as a teacher and you have teaching experience and you want to be trained in the country where you are. So you don't want to travel for the training, you want to get your QTS in the country. I must also mention, in your Train to Teach, the first option, you can work as a teacher, a few hours. You can work also while training to teach, so you're earning some money and you're also training to teach at the same time. So for your IQTS, you can get this as an overseas teacher. This option 2, IQTS, you can get this as an overseas teacher after completing a stipulated program with a certified provider. So the UK has a number of certified partners that can provide you this service if you are not in the UK. Now, QTS is the official qualification to work in the UK as a teacher. IQTS just means you got it outside the UK. So they have partners that provide these services. I must iterate to you that these services are expensive. The services are expensive. So the program usually takes 1 academic year and the price varies based on the service provider. The qualifications also vary based on the service provider. This is for people who do not qualify. You're already working in a school, you have teaching experience, but you do not qualify for the direct route to QTS. The direct route to QTS is the last one we're going to talk about. That one is free, and it is for teachers in the hotcake category that we are talking about. But if you're not in that hotcake category, you're not just going to apply directly from your country for a QTS. You actually have to go through this IQTS 1-year program with a certified UK partner, and they'll charge you however much they want to charge you, and then they will certify you. Then after getting your QTS, you can start applying for jobs. However, if you don't already have a visa, your QTS is not, and that was one of the reasons why I stopped making the videos. When people hear get your qualification to work in the UK, my inbox was flooded with getting jobs in the UK, and your QTS is not a job offer. Because you have your QTS does not mean you're coming to the UK tomorrow or you're going to the UK next week to go and work. It simply means that you are now qualified to work in the UK. What next? That means you now start looking for a job. So that means you have to find a job that's willing to sponsor your visa. If you don't already have a visa that allows you to work in the UK, then you have to look for a job. Not just any job. Some jobs do not sponsor visas, so you have to look for a job that is willing to sponsor your visa. We'll talk about that in a different video. Okay, the third, assessment only QTS. That means you don't want to do the whole 1-year program. You're confident in yourself as a teacher. You have the teaching qualification. You are working in a school where you have gathered enough experience. You just want them to assess you only. You pay for that, and then the service provider would assess and see if the setting you are teaching in is up to the UK standard, and then they will assess you in that school where you are teaching. So these are their own criteria for getting your assessment only QTS. It is cheaper than the IQTS, which is the whole 1-year training and assessment program. This one is just for the assessment, and it's anywhere around £4,000. Okay. You must be working in a British certified or recognized school, or at least have a good knowledge of British education system. You must have a bachelor's degree. You must have taught in 2 different schools. So all your teaching experience cannot be gathered in one school. Even if you've been teaching in one school for 20 years, it's not recognized because they don't think that your experience is vast or wide enough. So you must have taught in at least 2 different schools, teaching 2 different classes and 2 different age groups. And you must demonstrate that you are familiar with different approaches to teaching, learning, and school management. The cost of this, I also told you, keep in mind, about 4,000 pounds, but it varies based on service provider. So I'm going to link the service providers for IQTS and for assessment only route to QTS down in the description box below, so you can reach out to them. Now for the main, which is the bulk of the messages we always get, is for direct route to QTS. Route, anyone. I'm always struggling with the pronunciation of that, but that's by the way. So in this route, you have to very strict criteria. Okay, I'm going to read it out to you, and if you meet this criteria, you are eligible to get your free and immediate process. Takes about 6 months QTS from the UK. So the focus is these countries, and the reason they focus on these countries is because they see that they already have in the UK so many teachers from these countries. They are well represented, so they trust in the education system of these countries, and that's Ghana, India, Jamaica, Nigeria, Singapore, South Africa. I'm not including the European countries that they have on the list because the criteria for those people very different. So my focus is Ghana, India, Jamaica, Nigeria, Singapore, and South Africa. If you are from these countries, there's a direct route to getting your QTS. Please listen very carefully. If you meet 9 out of 10, you won't get your QTS. You have to use other routes like paying for the IQTS or assessment only, or opting to train to teach in the UK. You have to have every single criteria that I'm about to mention. So please listen very carefully. You must have at least 1 full year teaching experience, 1 full academic year teaching experience, and they must be in these following subjects: mathematics, science, biology, chemistry, physics, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Mandarin, Russian, Spanish. I had to read out every single subject because I think my last video I just said the blanket statement: mathematics, sciences, and languages. And now people were coming with similar subjects. They have made it very clear that they are not, favoring similar subjects. So if you say mathematics and say, oh, I have economics, is similar, it's not similar to them. Or I have accounting, is similar, it's not similar to them. Or agricultural science for science. In fact, when I first started, I think there was even computer science, and something regarding IT and technology on the list. That has been taken off. It's strictly math, science, biology, chemistry, physics, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Mandarin, Russian, and Spanish. So if you teach any one of these and you have more than 1 year of experience, you might be eligible. Let's continue to see if you are eligible. You must have at least a bachelor's degree. NC is not accepted. I don't know what that translates to for other countries, but it just means that whatever degree you have must not be less than a bachelor's degree. Now, you must also have a teaching qualification to teach any of these subjects. Now, teaching qualification can be your TRCN, it can be your postgraduate degree in education. However, if you studied education for your bachelor's, you may not need to have a postgraduate degree in education. Please listen to this statement very well, if your bachelor's reflects this subject that you are teaching. So I'm teaching biology and my bachelor's is bachelor's in biology education. then you qualify. If you have pure biology bachelor's, it is not an education bachelor's, it's just bachelor's of science in biology, then you should have a postgraduate degree in education. Either way, either your postgraduate degree or your bachelor's degree must fully reflect these subjects that you are teaching. That means I cannot study guidance and counseling, which is also under education in Nigeria, or education management and planning, and I'm teaching chemistry, and I don't have at least a postgraduate certification in chemistry education. It's not going to work. Even if I've been teaching chemistry for 10 years, if none of your degrees is reflecting your subject that you are currently teaching, you are not eligible. So please ensure that if your bachelor's is not in the subjects that you are teaching, at least your postgraduate degree should be in the subject you're teaching. Me, for example, my bachelor's is in chemistry education. I can qualify to teach chemistry. Assuming my bachelor's was in botany, then I must have a PGCE in biology education or chemistry education in order to teach that subject. So your degree must reflect the subject that you are teaching. And if your degree is a non-education degree, you should have a postgraduate degree in education. All right, I hope that was very clear. If it wasn't, feel free to reach out, via email. I'll share an email with us actually. Maybe I'll just put it on the screen somewhere or down in the description box so that you can send emails if you're not very clear. Also, you must have the teaching qualification of your country, which is these countries I mentioned: Ghana, India, Jamaica, Nigeria, Singapore, and South Africa. I don't know what it is for other countries, but in Nigeria, it is TRCN. Please, you must have your TRCN in order for you to qualify for this direct route to getting your QTS. Lastly, you must have either you take an English test, English proficiency test, or if you're from an English-speaking country, which I believe most of these countries I mentioned are, except Singapore. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But most of the other countries, and India, I'm not sure the medium of instruction in India. If your country fully speaks English and the degree that you have, you were taught in English language, just request for a letter of English as a medium of instruction from your school. So that's basically all about the 4 different routes to getting your QTS, and we're going to look at each one of them because I have videos on all 4 of them, which I'm probably going to link on the screens, which you can go back and watch. There are just a few modifications to them, and I'll be releasing these videos one after the other in subsequent weeks. If you have questions, I think I'm just going to do a general inquiry document that you can fill at the bottom of this video, so we can just send you the answers for each of these questions. And very soon we'll just be moving into helping people apply for their QTS, but we just want to make sure we get out all the proper information to begin with. So if you don't have those documents and things that are necessary, you can start putting things in place. I'll see you guys in subsequent videos where we get more clarity on how to get your QTS, all the documents that they will be asking for, how to apply for your visa, how to apply for a job, how to find a job that is sponsoring your visa. So stay glued, and in our next video we're going to be talking about opening a WhatsApp group or WhatsApp community or channel for teachers who are just looking for better work, looking for more opportunities to join and ask questions if need be. So do enjoy the rest of your day. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with every teacher and look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.